Hello everyone, welcome again to the Ebimeru Tribe channel where we talk about building businesses that outlive you, businesses that can grow with or without your presence. And in this series, we're looking at legacy beyond ownership. And the past two videos, we've spoken about systems as a structures and we've also spoken about the art of delegation. And today we'll be talking about leadership versus training. Having fully established the fact that to build a business that would grow, whether you're there or not, you need to establish your systems and structures. We've also established the fact that those systems and structures cannot fully work without people in place, without you delegating. Now, when it comes to you delegating, you also need to empower those that you are delegating to, and that is why we're treating today's topic, which is leadership and training. And the concept of leadership is very basic yet interesting, in that the concept of leadership focuses on development. Like, as a leader, you have built yourself to a certain level whereby your actions, you set a direction for people to follow. Your actions and the direction that you have set influences the behaviors of others. So if as a leader you are time conscious, the fact that you are time conscious and you live it, you walk it, you breathe it, would rub off on those that you are working with, and they would also adjust, at least reasonably, because the person that they are seeing as their leader is doing such a thing. But if you as a leader, you have negative traits, it is also going to rub off on those that you are working with. Being a leader, leadership generally is passive. I mean that you don't necessarily have to spell some things out. It is who you are. Like, your command, your being, your well-being is tailored around some certain values that rubs off. So it's passive. It's not something that happens in a day. It's not something that they tell you how to be one. It's something that you intentionally build yourself into being one. While training is more intentional than leadership. Training, you are teaching, is like teaching. It is more basic. Like, you are teaching one person, you are teaching them in a way that influences their outputs, in a way that influences their actions. That is just how it is. And you cannot just jump into being a leader without you first training yourself. That is why it is important that when it comes to training, as much as leadership is passive, right, training focuses more on transformation. Now, when you're training somebody, you are teaching them to be a particular person. You are teaching them to, let's say you are teaching someone, you are training somebody to leave being an introvert to being an extrovert. It is like a transformation. That person is no longer going to be shy and timid, but it's not going to be more outspoken and vocal. So that is how training, that's how intentional training is. You on your side, you are intentional about training and teaching that person, but that person is also intentional about learning and receiving and doing what you are teaching and training the person to be. So about training and leadership, you need to understand how these things work. And it is actually very simple, just that some business owners, they play down on the effects of training. And why is that? Because there's a general belief that staff that are not loyal, they would leave once you train them. But like I always say, it is not about the staff in particular. When you're training your staff, it is not about them. It's not like you are doing them a favor. It is for your own good. Like, it is for you. If they go, it is their loss. Like, you just have to move on and move on to the next big thing. You cannot keep wallowing on a particular problem and expect other things to just materialize. It doesn't work that way. So training is more intentional. Like, they themselves, they know that, okay, you are training them, they are willing to be more receptive, and they are willing to understand and carry out what it is that you are training them to be, or who it is that you are training them to be. And the concept of leadership is, you yourself as a leader, you cannot completely be a leader if you have not been trained. So you must have been trained in some certain departments or some certain fields of life, for you to now become an authority, for you to become someone, for you to become a model, like a model that people are looking up to. That is the concept of leadership. So even as a leader, you yourself, you need to, before you think of getting a staff, you ask yourself a question. If can I tolerate if my staff is running this business the way I'm running this business? That is the first question you should ask. When you are about to delegate and you're about to hire a staff, you need to first ask yourself a question. And that question is, the way I am currently running this business, can I tolerate a staff of mine run this business the same way I'm running this business? If no, then you have a lot to work on. As a leader, you have to be familiar with your core values. Like, what are the bedrocks for you building your business? What are you building your business on? Is it on diligence? Is it on time management? Is it on commitment? Is it on love? Is it on teamwork? You need to identify those things. You need to make sure that, these things that if I'm going to be getting somebody, I have so much that they can learn from me. I have so much that even if I don't say too much, my actions already have taught them A to Z of this particular process. So you need to ask yourself those questions. As a leader, as the owner of the business, you need to, if you do not have the team spirit, like you don't know how to work with people, it will be difficult for you to flow with your staff. Why is that? Because these staff themselves, they are humans. They love human feeling. They believe that you guys, the only difference between you two is that you are above them in some certain level. But at the same time, communication is important. So if you as a business owner, you are obsessed with handling a lot of things on your own, it is going to be watering down the zeal of your staff. If you handle a lot, there are some customers that if they don't buy from, if you don't attend to them, they will not buy from you. And then you too, you keep treating them that way. That way, the staff, if people want to buy from them, they'll say, hello, Burger, go and meet the boss. Why? Because even you yourself, that's how you place yourself. Then you will now start complaining that they cannot do things without you. But that is the foundation that you have already laid down for them. So before you even say, I want to have staff in charge of a lot of things, you need to first evaluate where you yourself as a person. The concept of business is that who you are personally will rub off on how you treat your business. There is no business life. There's no difference between your business life and your personal life. If you are bad with time, you are not punctual as a person, you can never be punctual in business. If you postpone little things as taking care of yourself, little things as cleaning up and following up with tasks, you procrastinate a lot as a person on personal tasks. You also procrastinate in business. Like, there's no two way to it. So before you even start some certain things, you need to first of all work on yourself. Work on yourself to a level that, because if you do some certain things and you now hire staff, what you are doing is what they will also do. So if you know that your behavior is not yet good, work on your behavior first before you go and hire. Don't disturb people. Work on yourself first before you hire people, because you are the one they are looking at. As much as they might have experience from other places, organizations are different. Once they come to your organization, they believe that, this is how things are being done here. So if you are doing things wrongly and you're expecting things to change, I'm sorry, that's the lie, because you have already set a very weak foundation. As a business owner, I said here that you should be so much of a leader that you only need little training for your staff to actually put in the required work. And that little training I'm talking about here is talking about specific training. For instance, your accountant, you might not have background in accounting and bookkeeping, but little things as reporting, diligence, giving me reporting time management. You don't train people to be respectful. If you don't have it, you don't have it. Now, if you yourself, you can abuse your customer from head to toe, you have staff that can do the same. There is no two way to it. So you need to understand and be intentional about how you do some certain things in front of your staff. If somebody wants to buy something for 20,000 and you now think, oh, because the person, you have profiled that customer, you say, let me call it for this person 50,000, and the customer pays. One day, your staff will do the same. You cannot escape it. Your staff will do the same because they have seen you do it and they feel it is okay. Because, of course, if something is not okay, why would you do it? Exactly. So they feel like it is okay. That is why they are doing such. For you to be a successful leader, you should be familiar with your core values. What are your core values as a business? Is it diligence? Is it team spirit? Is it commitment? Like, in this organization, we are committed to serving our customer. Customer comes first. If you hold that core value religiously, everybody around you would hold it with you. If you take it very seriously, every other person would also take it seriously with you. And what are core values? We have teamwork, there is integrity. If you are not a person of integrity, you can't expect you. Even if that staff was a person of integrity from where he or she was coming from, once they enter your company, because you are not a person of integrity, you have affected such a staff. So now, how to go about training? I would get there later today about why you should actually train. Maybe I should start from why you should actually train. You train because you want your business to grow, not because you want to grow your staff. People run away from training their staff because you feel the staff is going to leave when you train them, blah, blah, blah. First thing first, you cannot train someone that's not willing to learn. And that is why, if you yourself, you are employing someone that is not willing to learn, your foundation is weak. Because I have always said this, that you need to have a checklist of your desired staff. That is why when you see vacancy, you see job descriptions. You see responsibilities, and then you see job descriptions. It's like a wish list of an employer. You have a wish list that, okay, I want this person in this position to have this quality. So if you employ someone that is willing to learn, someone that is teachable, that has a teachable spirit, it will not be difficult to train such a person. But if you are already employing someone that is even bigger than you, so now am I saying you should not hire people that are experts? No. The reason why you're having problems with experts is because you are a micromanager. Like, if personally, I work with evaluation and results. I am result oriented. So if I am putting you in a particular position, I believe 100% that you can deliver on that job. Now, if I believe that I can deliver on that job, I don't try to say, oh, I can only put my inputs, okay, this is how I want it to be, do your thing. I don't say, you have not washed this cup. Have you washed this cup like this? Why is this cup like this? Why did you place it like this? Why did you do it like this? Whereas, how you should sort that issue should be, okay, why is this cup here? Hear their reason. It was not a good reason, you correct. But some of them might have ideas. But because you are stuck with your own expectation, you don't want to be flexible. The reason why you have issues with experts is because you love micromanaging. And experts do not work that way. If they have done their job and the result is not okay with you, you have a decision to either replace them or tell them what it is that you actually want and see how it goes. But let them do their thing. The reason why you're having issue with your staff is because you are everywhere. In fact, before they do something, they're even watching their back because you might be at their back. So it is important to have what Yorubas call amojukuro, like just remove your eyes from it. If the result is not now what you want, then you can take actions. Disciplinary actions, replacements, all those things can now fall in place. So you are training because you want your business to grow, not because you are growing a particular staff. You are training because you need that staff to come to a level of capacity to now deliver outstandingly to your business. That is why you are training, not because of any other thing. You train particularly for specifics. Okay, I want my accountant to be familiar with taxation, to be familiar with regulatory bodies. So you enroll the accountant in a tax school or a tax lesson or a tax course. That way, that accountant has more knowledge. And because the accountant has more knowledge, you don't have to pay huge sum of money to tax consultants to handle your tax for you. It's a win-win. And when you're training staff, there's like when you train staff, there are always regulations, right? Like for instance, now let's say you are investing 100,000 to train your staff, and that staff salary is about 30,000. You can split it into two if they are willing to undergo that training. You split it, okay, the company will take care of half, while you take care of half, that you can spread along 6 months. See, when you do those things, they believe that you have them in mind. And when they believe that you have them in mind, they will feel responsible for everything that they are doing, and they will be more on their toes, and they will deliver more. Like, that is really how it works. But because you are scared, like, just take the first step. You don't stop learning. If you learn in a way that is not good, you move on. You are failing forward. And that is the most important thing in business, failing forward. So firstly, training reduces your turnover, your staff turnover. For instance, I know a company that every month, each staff, like every month like this, they hire and people resign. Like, it's just very crazy. Like, every month you are hiring. And it is very burdening because the more you hire, the more you train. And it's very, but when a lot of things are put in place for this staff, there's no reason for them to look elsewhere. Like, during the interview process, try to know the person you are trying to employ. For instance, you ask questions. You ask questions like, okay, where do you see yourself in the next 2 years? Okay, what is your current qualification, academic qualification? Okay, do you intend to further? You ask those questions so that you are sure that, okay, this person, in the next 2 months, person wants to go for a higher degree. So there's no need investing such amounts in such a staff. But when you know that, okay, this person is willing to learn, grow, has so challenges, you can come in to help with such challenges as little as you can. I'm not saying you should empty your pockets for staff. I'm just saying that you ask, questions questions that will make you understand such a staff, relate with them. You relate with them in a way that they can tell you some certain things. You can, even you yourself, you can observe how they move. For instance, there are some staff that they've resigned, and I knew they were going to resign 2 months before they resigned. Why? Because there was already a level of communication and there were some things in place. Like, there has to be benefits for you. Apart from the salary that you're paying them, what other benefits do they have working with you? Are they going to improve in their career? Do they have health benefits? Do they have time to do other things? Do they have time to pursue their passion? The work that they are doing for you, is that really what they have passion for? For instance, if you hire me as a customer care representative, I will not stay up to 1 year because I don't have passion for it. So these are the things that you ask. So if you ask these relevant questions, it would not allow you to make some mistakes. If you ask relevant questions, you know the right decisions to take. And then regular meetings, regular communications with your staff help you, avoid regrets when you eventually train them. So all of these things put in place would reduce the turnover, the way staff, just leave abruptly. It would really reduce it to a minimal level. Then it increases productivity. For example, now I made an illustration of an accountant that you are training to, learn about taxation in the country, taxation that relates to your business. It will, like that way, you don't have to, pay a huge sum of money to tax consultants. They are more productive in that every month they let you know your tax liability, they sort the necessary things for you. Their productivity is increased. That is really how, like, it really improves productivity. You train a customer care representative how to attend to customers better. You enroll them in some certifications and they attend to customers better. Customers don't complain as much as they used to before, and things will just go well automatically. It's shortening your sales cycle. Like I said, if a customer, you ask to, like, it will take, let's say, 2-4 days for them to believe and trust you enough to buy from you. The more you train your staff, the more they tackle objections without you. So they don't have to be there you don't have to be there to close a customer. You don't need to train them so that they can tackle objections that on a normal day you are the one that tackles such objections. So that way the sales cycle is shortened. They don't have to go merry-go-round before a sales is made. They know what exactly it is that they're meant to do. Now, how do you go about training? Like I said, you cannot train somebody that is not ready to learn. So you need to understand how exactly you should train, like how to go about investing and training your staff. Firstly, you need to identify the objectives. Why do you want to train them? Like, why? There has to be a very strong why. Because when there is a strong why, if things don't go exactly as planned, you will not be demoralized, you will not feel bad, you will not be weakened, because you still know why. Like, that why is a very strong why. For instance, this accountant illustration, you want to train your accountant about taxation that relates to your business, so that instead of you paying huge sum to tax consultants, such accountants can handle taxation for you, and then you don't expose your business to some certain risk. Because if you're hiring tax consultants, you also face a risk of confidentiality. Some people do not they don't value such confidentiality, and then some of them misbehave, but it doesn't really happen that way. But this is just an illustration. So you reduce such a risk, and these things you have, and that is the reason why you want to enroll such a staff in that course. There is a strong why. Now, when that why is strong, you know why you want to do it, you can now proceed. Now, when you now identify what exactly it is that you want and why you want it, you can now say, okay, what are the skill gaps? And what I mean by skill gaps, I mean that what are those things that my staff is currently lacking that I need them to learn. For instance, I know that my staff does not really know how to professionally talk to a client, so I enroll them in a customer service certification course. That is a skill gap. Oh, I know that my accountant can just prepare profit and loss accounts, but does not really know about taxation. I enroll such a staff. So you have to identify their weak points, the gaps, what it is that is missing in your business before you then proceed. And then the third thing is you implement mentorship program. Now, mentorship is, you don't just train them and then you just leave it that way. You don't train them and forget about the fact that you have trained them. You keep up with them. You follow up with them. You test them. You evaluate. You make sure that, okay, they themselves, they value and recognize this thing that you have done, and they are willing to, keep being at that level that you are placing them to be. They understand that, oh, this is how I want it to be. They understand that there is somebody that is constantly checking what I am doing. They understand that there is somebody that I'm constantly reporting to. They are not just on their own. They are not just on their own. They know that they have to report to somebody. They know that they have to talk to somebody ahead of them. So that way you can then train them. You can, be a leader to them. You can be a covering to them. You can engage in activities that, boost relationship. Employer-employee relationship is actually a very beautiful one, and you need to be able to foster such a relationship. So that would be it for this series. For everyone that has watched all our videos up to this point, I say a very big thank you. For next month, which is May, we'll be dropping the topic very soon. And kindly like, share, and subscribe to this channel. My name is Blessing Atonda again, and thank you for watching.